Welcome to another edition of PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. And in today's video, we continue. Kaguya-Sama, Love is War, Queen of Thieves. What if Shirogane was Spider-Man? Season 2, Part 2. As always, if you're new to the channel or if you're a regular and like what we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that's to come out now and in the future. Where we last left off with our story, the end of term has finally come, and Miyuki Shirogane is no longer the student council president. But with the re-elections coming up just around the corner, he debates whether or not he should take on the role once again. Between having his life as Spider-Man and just trying to be the top student as it is, does being the student council president really appeal to our hero all that much? And how does Kaguya feel as she takes the next steps in her criminal career, all in the efforts of gaining her freedom, which will lead her to work with some shady people, many of whom have their own powerful connections and won't easily be able to be overcome. Follow along as our heroes and villains continue in their journey. As always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Under the cover of night, a meeting was taking place. It was in a fancy restaurant, a private room reserved all the way in the back for private conversation. A man with an obscenely large forehead that was scarred took a puff of his cigar, along with his guards standing to his left and to his right. At the table, sitting across from him, were two young, lovely ladies, both of whom were dressed elegantly for the occasion, one in a black dress and one in a silver dress. The girl in the black dress had long, flowing white hair, as well as having deceptively deep blue eyes. Of course, this was Kaguya. Thankfully, having gone through preparation, she decided she would go with the look she wore as the Black Cat. No reason to get her and Kaguya Shinomiya intertwined in the same business. When dealing with these type of associates, she was simply known as the Black Cat. Or she went by another alias, that being Felicia. Along with her was Ai Yasuka. Although instead of sporting her normally blonde hair, she was sporting her natural silver hair. After all, she had no reason to really hide her identity, as she was a member of the Silver Sable family, which were also in the criminal underworld. Standing across from them was the being known only as Hammerhead, although he referred to be known as Mr. Martello when conducting business. I must say, you ladies are very beautiful tonight. But aren't you a little young to be working with criminal masterminds? Yes, we are, Black Cat would say. But I don't think those sort of details matter here. You seem like the kind of man that only cares about results. And I can guarantee that I deliver. Oh, I can tell. Out of all of these super criminal whack jobs that have been running around this country, you've been the only one to evade the capture of the Spider-Man. So your reputation precedes you. But I must know, why do you come to me with such a generous offer? Why do you wish to work on my behalf? Well, there's no reason to go into personal detail. I just have a former clientele that I need to pay off. And it's safe to say that for the more work I do for them, the more debt I incur in the long run. I see. You're stuck with yourself in a rock and a hard place. I get it. You do more work for them to try to get yourself out, but they tack on a little extra charge for every job you do. It keeps you in the loop and you can never break free. You're just someone trying to get your independence. I respect that. So, you're looking to be employed in my services. Yes, I have my associate here who can speak on my behalf. I'm aware. Say, how's your mother doing? My mother is fine, Mr. Martello, thank you. But for now, I am just here with my client. We are merely looking for work. Whatever you're paying anyone to do a specific job for you, we'll take on that role. I must say, the heist you've managed to pull, I've been keeping track of. You rack up a good bit of cash in your service. Just how much are you looking to get? Well, I would say in terms of money that you can understand, we're trying to drum up at least 100 million in US dollars. Ooh, 100 million. I gotta say, 100 million. Very ambitious for those so young. Are you sure that's the kind of life you want to get into? I mean, I don't mean to frighten you, but in this line of business, money is not something to be played with. I've had men try to get money from me far lower in sum, and when they fail, they've paid a very severe price. To be honest, you're lucky if you only owe me $20. I might only break your pinky finger and look the other way. But 100 million, if things don't go right. Let me make this perfectly clear. I don't care what families you work with. I don't care who your allies are. You cross me, I'll put a bullet in both of your pretty little skulls and not lose a wink of sleep over it. You understand? Of course, I didn't come here to take things lightly, Mr. Martello. I've only come here for work, and if you can provide me that work and the payment needed, I'll get you what you want, no questions asked. That's what I like to hear. But, we still gotta iron some things out. Just because you evaded the Spider-Man's capture up till now isn't a full guarantee. So I got a few ideas of my own. We can set things up, and once I'm sure that everything is ready to go, then we can get down to business. I think that'll work for everybody in the end, and I'm sure you'll agree to the terms. The two girls would nod in agreement, and an unspoken alliance would be made. The two girls would quickly leave the establishment. They had no reason to stay beyond the business that they had come for, as I, Yasuka, would look towards her charge. Are you alright, Lady Kaguya? Of course, I'm fine. You say that, but I can feel that your hands are trembling. It'll be alright. Of course it will. It has to be. Because I don't have any other way. In the meantime, re-election at Shushin Academy was just around the corner. Of course, Miyuki Shirogane was still debating whether or not he was going to run for student council president. During the time that he hadn't been doing club activities and only had to focus on being a student and on being Spider-Man, having that proverbial weight lifted off of his shoulder was beyond a relief. In fact, he actually came to school feeling a bit more well-rested. It was so much so that even Kaguya noticed, and she didn't like it. He didn't have that 1,000-yard stare, the bags under his eyes, that look of fierce determination. He looked so mundane, tamed even. I mean, sure, it wasn't like he wasn't cute or anything, but still, that wasn't the man that she had fallen in love with, but she won't admit that out loud. No, he'll be the one to do that. But still, was not being the club president taking away his drive? What more would fall from him? She couldn't allow this. No, she couldn't let this happen. While Shirogane was sitting for lunch with Ishigami, he would be approached by Kaguya, as she would ask whether or not he intended to run again. He had been mulling it over for a while now. Did he really want to run? Did he really need to run? It wasn't like he wanted to. But Ishigami was pestering him to do so, because the alternative was not something he was in favor of. It was a first-year student by the name of Miko Lino. She was going to be running. She was a student that come from the junior academy not too long ago, along with her close friend, Kobachi Osaragi. Miko was very well known for her no-nonsense attitude, a stickler for the rules, if you will. Ishigami was on the receiving end of this swift, never-ending justice, as she was always one trying to confiscate his video games whenever possible. But in all seriousness though, the girl acted like she was just a one-woman army, as if corruption was at every turn and that she was going to be the one to bring it all down. Of course, among many things, she was also known for being a fangirl. She was a big fan of many popular politicians, as well as those who served in law enforcement, among those being her older sister. But she was also a fan of Spider-Man. As such, it wasn't uncommon to see Miku going to the student newsroom first thing in the morning, where Junpei Jonah Jameson was trying to print some article trying to besmirch Spider-Man's name, and Miko was always the first one to come to his defense, their shouting matches being ones for the ages. Spider-Man didn't cause that train wreck. He was saving those people. He's a hero. Oh yeah, that's just what he wants you to think. Hero, hero, hero. Huh? If he's so much of a hero, why does he wear a mask? What's he got to hide? Got to hide? It's obvious he wears the mask because he doesn't want people to know who he is. If criminals knew who he was, they'd obviously come after him with everything they had. What if he has family or people that's important to him? So, cops have people that are important to them. You don't see them wearing a mask. No, they have their faces out with pride. They wear their badge with their name, and they're well known and registered to the public for everyone to see. So it's not fair that they get to risk their lives while having their identities out in the wind, and Spider-Man doesn't. Tell me, how can you justify that? Look, while you do have a point with that, we all know that the amount of crimes and retaliation committed against officers of the law when compared to those who act in the name of vigilantism is highly disproportional. Besides, no one's going to go after some random cop when you know for a fact that a superpowered being has more to do with the issue of taking you down. I mean, just look at it. Superpowered criminals are running through the streets daily, and despite the cops' best efforts, they can't take them down on their own. They need help from Spider-Man. Oh, please. These cops, all they need is some good training and well-fundment. I should know. My dad talks about it all the time. Your dad's senile. Hey! Well, under normal circumstances, Miyuki would have gotten involved and stopped their quarreling, but now he had no reason to. Although, as he walked past and Miko saw him, she had a disdained look on her face as she looked towards the young man. I hope you're not planning to run again. I'm not going to let you win this time around. Huh? What are you talking about? Oh, please. You have someone like Ishigami working for you. It's obvious that you don't really pay attention to the rules and that you're too lax anyway. So I'm going to save this school from you and your slothic, corrupt behavior. Slothic? Corrupt? Does this girl know how much work I've put into? Uh-oh, it seems like his pride's being tested. With all due respect, Miko, is that right? A lot more goes into being student council president than just making up as many rules as you want. It's a lot more of a complicated system. Everything in life isn't black and white. It's one big shade of gray. Oh, please! That's what everyone says. That's why you'll never be as cool as him. Cool as who? Well, Spider-Man, of course. He believes in truth and justice. Something you should take a page from. Ishigami couldn't help but laugh right behind Shirogane. I mean, this was just too ironic. The girl absolutely adored Spider-Man, but hated everything Shirogane stood for. I mean, seriously, this is like textbook irony right here. In either case, Miyuki was going to run again, and he actually had some help. Although unfortunately, Chika wasn't going to be on his side. The young girl was friends with Miko, and well, Chika was very easily swayed. For some reason, despite Miko thinking that Shirogane and everyone else in the student council were just a bunch of degenerates who constantly went against the rules, when the one person who actually broke the rules and potentially the law, although the only one that Shirogane knew of, she was more than willing to turn a blind eye because she liked her. Well, Shirogane thought, this is why I'm not a politician. In either case, he still had help from Ishigami, along with Kaguya, as well as Eva Ayala, who was also going to want to help because she wanted to join back again also. Being the historian of the student council was actually pretty fun. Documenting wasn't too hard, and she got to see a lot of historical sites in Japan, especially on the school campus. So it was definitely an eye-opener for her, to say the least. And with that, the race for student council president was on. Miko Leno versus Miyuki Shirogane. The two sides were definitely neck and neck as the weeks went on. Everyone pulling out all the stops to try to gain favor in the run for presidency. Kaguya had even gone as far as to even try to get Miko to withdraw. Politely, of course, although it didn't go the way she wanted it to. It all happened one day when Miko was walking down the halls and Kaguya would catch up to her. "Oh, Miko, it's so nice to see you." "Kaguya, what is it?" "Oh, it's nothing much. I was just wondering, might you consider withdrawing from the election?" "Withdraw? And why would I do that?" "Well, it's obvious, isn't it? You don't have the experience or the skill needed to compete with Miyuki Shirogane. It's not going to go the way you want it to." "Is this supposed to be some sort of intimidation tactic?" "Of course, I wouldn't expect any less from him. He would put his number one girl up to it." Number one girl? Does he call me that? Really? Oh, please, you're so full of yourself. You think just because you have money and influence, you can just get away and do whatever you want. Well, I'll have you know, the world isn't like that. Crime pays for everyone. Kaguya would kind of scoff at that, and Miko would catch it. "What, you don't believe me?" "I believe you're naive. That's what I believe." "Why? Because I actually believe and stand for something other than just myself?" "And what do you stand for, huh? You think what you're doing is for the good of the school?" "Of course it is. Our school's reputation has been going down in the dumps the last few years, and no one seems to recognize it. No one seems to care. After what happened just last year, do you want to know why so much of the school's funding has been taken away? The public doesn't seem to trust us. Trust is something that's easy to build, and it's even easier to lose. But no one here seems to care about that. Everyone here coming from their prestigious and rich family backgrounds, they just walk around acting like they're entitled to everything. And you're no different. I'm actually trying to run a legit campaign, and you seriously tell me to withdraw? Why? Just because things will be easier for you that way? Well, no. I'm not going to withdraw just so that everyone else can be easily convenienced. The truth hurts, but the truth has to be said. I'm going to run because unlike you, unlike your corrupt council, I actually stand for something and I believe in it. I don't get to hide behind daddy's money and just turn away when things don't work out well for me. Kaguya looked back at her seriously. You know something? Under normal circumstances, you would be right. You would be right about almost all of us. You're right. A lot of us do hide behind our parents' money. A lot of us do come from an air of arrogance and of stature. And you know what? That's how the world works. Your father is a judge, isn't he? Tell me, how many do you think your father lets get away simply because they have the money to do so? Let me clue you in on something. It doesn't matter how much justice you want or how much justice you believe in. In the end of the day, the world is ruled by the bottom line. There are those who are conquered and there are the conquerors. There are those who will be eaten and those who do the eating. And let me tell you, let me assure you, you are not eating at the same table as us. You and I may come from high-class families, but we are not on the same level. And yet you want to know something? Despite all of that, Shirogane is better than the both of us. The president is far greater than you could ever hope or imagine. Because despite everything we have, despite every advantage, he has managed to outclass every single one of us. I can say this without certainty. If there is one person that is not corrupt, if there is one person that I know stands above everyone else and always does the right thing, it is Miyuki Shirogane. You can say whatever you want about me. I don't really care. But the one thing I will not tolerate is you speaking down on his name. Do you understand me? I was only offering you an out. You really think that he needs my help to win? I'm just sparing you from a worser fate. Because when it comes down to it, they're going to eat you alive. There's no point in you even trying to run. You were never even a player. In this game, it was over before it started. The two girls would walk away from one another, both of them now going even harder in the campaign. Eventually, the day of the debate would arrive. Ishigami already had everything planned out, down to a perfect T. The reason being was because he understood human nature. He knew well enough, more than anyone, Miko had the spunk, but she didn't have the heart. When the day of the debate finally came, she froze. She wasn't able to answer the questions. Everything she had tried to do, everything she stood for, everything she believed in, it was all too much for her to take all at once. The girl was like a deer in the headlights. It was just as Ishigami thought. Stage fright 101. She can talk a big game, but when she has to back it up in front of a whole crowd, then she can't stand it. That's why you're gonna win. You don't even have to try. Once she shows how incompetent she is at just handling a debate, no one will have faith in her to actually be student council president. You'll win this with ease. For Miyuki, it all sounded good. But still, he didn't like seeing her like that. Just floundering around, struggling. As such, Miyuki did the one thing he could do. He got her attention. He made her focus only on him. And the two would have their debate. A debate that was actually engaging and went back and forth. Of course, to Kaguya and everyone else's dismay, They didn't think he'd actually do something like that. He was almost giving her a chance to actually win. But Kaguya, she could only smile. As much as she didn't like it, in the end, it was one of the many reasons why she fell in love with him in the first place. The kind of man that would put the needs and the well-being of others above themselves. It's the reason why she never even bothered running for president. Because she knew deep down, she could never compete with a man like him. In the end, Miyuki Shirogane would win the re-election, and he would take up the mantle of club student council president once again. It was a heavy burden, one that he could have lived and done without, but in the end, it was something that needed to be done. Over the walls of Shushin Academy, there was a placard. It was a bit old and dusty. Shirogane decided to go and dust it off to make sure it was displayed with pride. As he was doing so early in the morning, Miko would find him and ask what he was doing. When I first came to this school, I saw this placard. Many people brush past it. They don't even pay any mind, but for me, it actually means a lot. It's something that I try to live by. Really? What is it? It's an old saying. Okino chigara na wa okina sekin mo tonomiya hazu desu. Or, when roughly translated to English, with great power must also come great responsibility. You actually believe that? Miko would say. Of course I do. I didn't come from the same means as everyone else. My family, we haven't always had the best of circumstances. My father, he lost everything. My mom, his company, his dignity. Any other man would have given up. But no, he took responsibility. And honestly, despite being embarrassing sometimes, he's a man that I truly look up to and admire, without a shadow of a doubt. I honestly just hope that I can live up to the expectations. And that's why I do the best I can for this place. I'm not a stickler for the rules, Miko. And that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes in life, not every rule has to be followed to a perfect T. But as long as you can do right by others, as long as you take care and you use the power that you're given responsibly, I think that's the best for everyone. Don't you think? It's why I want you on the student council. I trust your judgment. And I think you'll make a fine president someday, when I'm gone. Miku would be shocked by this, but all the same, maybe Miyuki Shirogane wasn't so bad after all. And with that, the student council would resume their duties once again. Miyuki Shirogane, student council president. Kaguya Shinomiya, student council vice president. Chika Fujiwara, secretary. Yu Ishigami, treasurer. Eva Ayala, historian. And now, Miko Leno, student disciplinary chairman. Safe to say, this new term, things were definitely going to be interesting. But let's fast forward later into the night. Spider-Man found himself swinging through the streets of Tokyo, engaged in a battle against a new opponent, one that was definitely fearsome and not to be taken lightly. A man by the name of the Scorpion. He dodged his tail in multiple strikes, the Scorpion attempting to strike him down quickly. With his cybernetic suit and with his claw-like attachments, it took all of his effort and strength just to hold him off. What a weird form of irony, Shirogane would think. Scorpions, the natural predator to the spider. The fight would eventually conclude with the Scorpion eventually getting away, although thankfully there were no casualties. And he would find himself meeting one of the new lieutenants at the Japanese precinct, a woman by the name of Yuriko Watanabe Leno. Leno? Wait, is she? Haha, yep. The older sister of Miko Leno. Yukiro Watanabe Leno. Safe to say, Yukiro also shared in the same sentiments as Miko. She actually respected Spider-Man, although she had to be stern for the sake of her job, and warned that she would have to keep a close eye on him, because after all, they couldn't just allow free roaming vigilantism. But he had been doing good work for the city, so she wasn't going to slap on the cuffs on him or anything, but she'd be keeping an eye out. Of course, the main issue of dealing with was trying to figure out what on earth this Scorpion guy wanted. It seemed like he had come to pick a fight with Spider-Man, as he didn't really steal anything, and Spider-Man had been his only primary target. Although, over the intercoms of her radio, they would learn that a heist had recently taken place on the other side of the city. Wait, what? Hold on, I'm on my way. What's going on, Captain? Spider-Man would ask. I'm not Captain, Lieutenant, but I hope to be. And we just got word of a heist on the other side of town. A heist? Yeah. Sources say it was the Black Cat. She struck at an art gala. The Black Cat? Let me come with you. Are you sure? Yeah. I let you get away once, but not again. The next time I see you, Shirogane would think to himself, "You're going down, Cat. I promise." This concludes Kaguya-Sama Love is War, Queen of Thieves. What if Shirogane was Spider-Man? Season 2, Part 2. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that's to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video as we continue Kill la Kill, The Web of Life. What if Spider-Gwen was in Kill la Kill, Part 6. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. Signing off, and I'll see you next time.